Chapter 7 is all about ratios, proportions, cross-multiplying, dividing, things of that nature. So, vocabulary. A ratio is a comparison of two things by division. For us, it's basically a fraction. Equivalent ratios are two ratios that say the same thing, they just look different, like 1/2 and 2/4. We typically give the simplest form of an answer. This is going to be one of those rare sections where some of your answers will be unsimplified fractions. And a proportion is just a statement that two ratios are equivalent. So this right here, this 1/2 equals 2/4, that's a proportion. Find two ratios equivalent to the given ratio. Okay, so they gave me 6/8. You should immediately say, okay, that is 3/4. You should immediately say, can I reduce it? And the answer here is yes. So 3/4 is one equivalent ratio. We need another one. Well, anything that's equivalent to 6/8 will be equivalent to 3/4. So I could triple both the numerator and denominator here and make that 9/12. That is an equivalent ratio. 12/16 is equivalent. 15/20 is equivalent. There's an infinite number of equivalent ratios. We're asked for 2. You will have to do this on your assignment. I would beg you to keep them simple, because if you make them larger, I have to take extra time to check to make sure you're correct. And while I don't mind taking some extra time to check things, it can add up very quickly. So if you have any sympathy for me at all, keep your fractions easy. 48/27. Well, let's see. 27 is 9 times 3. 9 doesn't go into 48, but 3 does. 3 goes into 48 16 times. And it goes into 27 9 times. So this is actually the simplified fraction 16/9 in disguise. By the way, we are getting into a time now where you are going to be allowed to leave improper fractions alone. I'm not going to make you change these to mixed numbers anymore. So 16/9, I need something equal to 16/9. Well, what if I doubled both of those? 16 times 2 is 32. 9 times 2 is 18. Those are equivalent ratios to 48/27. Okay. That is how simple I want it to be. Nothing crazy. Determine if these ratios are a proportion. So the question is, are they equal to each other? The easiest way to do that is to simplify them. So 7/21, I can divide both of those by 7. That's really 1/3. 2/6, I can divide both of those by 2. That's 1/3. Those are the same, so yes, these two form a proportion. On the next example, 9/12. Those both divide by 3, so that's really 3/4 in disguise. 16/24, I can divide both of those by 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2. 24 divided by 8 is 3. Those two fractions don't simplify, and they're not the same. So this does not form a proportion because these two things aren't equal to each other. The first one was a proportion because they were equal. And a word problem to wrap this section up. At 4 degrees Celsius, centigrade, same word, 2 cubic feet of silver has the same mass as 21 cubic feet of water. At the same temperature, would 126 cubic feet of water have the same mass as 6 cubic feet of silver? And we're given the hint to write two ratios and check if they're a proportion. Okay, so two ratios would be like this. And checking, I'm going to put a question mark over my equal sign to say I'm checking this. In order to be able to do this, I have to set these up the same way. Now, there are 6 numbers in this problem, and I have room for 4. So there's 4 degrees, 2 cubic feet, 21 cubic feet, 4 degrees, 126 cubic feet, and 6 cubic feet. There's 6 numbers in 4 spots. That means 2 of these are redundant, and they are the temperature. The reason you were told the temperature is because at different temperatures, certain materials will take up different amounts of space. By telling you the temperatures are the same, we're saying that the amount of space they take up won't change because of the temperature. So what we're really talking about are cubic feet of silver and cubic feet of water. I'm going to set my ratios up to be silver over water so that I make sure I set them both up the same way. So my first ratio is going to be 2 cubic feet of silver is the same as 21 cubic feet of water. The second ratio has 126 cubic feet of water, so that's actually the bottom, being compared to 6 cubic feet of silver. Now we have to simplify to check if they're the same. 2 21sts does not simplify. It is 2 21sts. Pardon me. 6 126ths, both of these actually do divide by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 126 divided by 6 is 21. Are these the same? No. They're very, very close. If we take something and divide it into 21 parts, you're not going to notice much of a difference between 1 and 2 of them. But there is a difference. They're not exactly the same. So, the question was, do these have the same masses? And the answer is no, because these ratios are different.